So not only has that coward Tom King screwed over Batman's character, but now he went after Jae Lee because he did a cover for Ethan Van Sciver. Oh, Tom King, you have screwed up big time. Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have it better tomorrow. So Tom King, he went after artist Jae Lee over the stupidest reason ever to try to get him canceled, and it had nothing to do with Tom King. That's the thing. This man is just a coward. So this is what he stated in his tweet. Today, DC put out an alternative cover for Rorschach by Jae Lee, who has also done covers for Comicsgate, a hate group. DC does not consult creators on alternative covers. I reached out to them to express my deep disappointment. Far as I'm concerned, this is the cover to Rorschach #1. Who cares that Jae Lee did a cover for Ethan Van Sciver? You know, he did it for Ethan Van Sciver. Jae Lee's not even Comicsgate. And of course, Tom King immediately jumps to the conclusion that Jae Lee is Comicsgate because he did a cover for Ethan Van Sciver. Ethan just happened to have enough money to pay him for it, and Jae Lee did it. It had nothing to do with Comicsgate. But of course, Tom King doesn't see it that way. Former Batman writer Tom King insinuates that DC Comics artist Jae Lee is a part of hate group. This article is by Bounty Good Comics, and I just want to make something clear. Comicsgate is not a hate group. Comicsgate is an alternative to the mainstream because the mainstream has screwed over comics so bad. I mean, you know, comic book industry itself is just dying off, and they've done it to themselves. Former Batman writer and current co-writer of the upcoming New Gods from Tom King recently took to Twitter to insinuate that DC Comics artist Jae Lee is a part of a hate group. King's insinuation comes after DC Comics revealed Lee's variant cover for Rorschach issue 1 that is written by King and artist George Fords, which you can see the cover right there. You can see a screenshot from DC Comics website below announcing Lee's cover, Rorschach #1, which is Tom King and George Fords, Dave Stewart, and Clayton Cowles, will publish on October 13, 2020. You know, obviously, this is talking just about that. King specifically wrote on Twitter, today DC put out an alternative cover to Rorschach by Jae Lee, who has also done covers for Comicsgate, a hate group. See, what he's done here is basically he has enlisted people to come after Jae Lee, when Jae Lee has never stated he's Comicsgate. In fact, he didn't even know of what Comicsgate was, apparently. And, you know, that's the thing. He just worked for Ethan because Ethan paid him to do it. But, you know, that immediately makes Tom King believe that, oh, Jae Lee's a bad guy because he did a cover for somebody for Comicsgate. Oh, my lord. Tom King. This guy is so stupid. Tom King is such a moron. And it gets worse. It's quite unclear why King would just now be taking issue with Lee's variant cover when it was announced over a week ago. It's possible he wanted to make a bigger splash on social media, given DC Comics just showed off what Lee's cover would look like. I mean, if anything, it's because Jae Lee did that cover for Ethan Van Sciver. I bet you that's the exact reason why he got so butthurt. And here's the thing. When you look at it, what does that matter what Jae Lee does? Jae Lee can work with whomever he wants. You know, if somebody pays him to work on a cover for him or whatever, he can do that. I mean, you know, that's none of Tom King's business. But of course, he jumps in here to make it his business. You know, which is absolutely absurd considering that Tom King didn't even have anything to do with it. And it's just ridiculous that he jumped in here and did this. You know, it just shows how petty he is. Lee is doing a variant cover for Ethan Van Sciver's Cyberfrog 2 Wrecked Planet, which is currently crowdfunding on Indiegogo and has been backed by over 9,000 people to the tune of $1,044,972. You can see Lee's Cyberfrog 2 variant cover below, and it's beautiful. I mean, all Jae Lee did was draw a cover with a frog on it. I'm serious. This is what Tom King is apparently upset about, is Jae Lee apparently making a cover with a frog on it. This is absolutely ridiculous. And it's so dumb. I mean, you know, it's a beautiful cover. Jae Lee is a fantastic artist, and he really proves that with this cover. You know, props to Jae Lee on this. I have to give him credit. This is a fantastic cover. But Tom King, you know, there was no point for him to jump in here and say anything. You know, it had nothing to do with it. And, of course, he tries to cancel Jae Lee over this. This is the reason. Because he drew a frog cover. It's absurd. You know, cancel culture is such a terrible thing. And I think that cancel culture should just die. I mean, personally. That's just me, though. Because it's so awful. And just some guy, got to make a shout out to him because he stated this: Tom King, a man who had to take a pledge to promise not to do terrible things to women because he apparently didn't already know not to do that, unironically tries to use his white male privilege to bully Asian artist Jae Lee. Oh, but Comicsgate is the hate movement. See, here's the thing. Tom King, there's a lot of things that goes on behind the scenes with the mainstream comic book industry. A lot of very bad things. Just some guy pointed that out. And the other thing is to look at here, he just went after Jae Lee, and then he was like, oh yeah, Comicsgate is a hate movement. It's not a hate movement, Tom. It never was. It never has been, and it never will be. And they have no proof for that. They just state that because they don't like Comicsgate. So, of course, because of that, they have to make up whatever they can about Comicsgate. Tom King continued also to say this: I spoke with Jay. He's not on Twitter, didn't know Comicsgate existed, and doesn't support hate of any kind. We're all good. Best possible outcome. Tom King is such a slimy and disgusting person. I mean, he went so far to try to completely ruin Jay, and it gets worse for Jae Lee, okay? This is not even the end of the story. So listen to this. Again, Tom King did this to Jae Lee just for likes without even talking to him first. Then he wrote, it's all good, meaning he's all good, and that's all that matters to him. Which is true. That's all that matters to Tom King. Like I said, he's a coward. He didn't even talk to Jae Lee. And to make matters worse, this is when terrible things had been going on in Jae Lee's life. A very tragic moment happened to him, and this is what he stated on his Instagram. Jae Lee Art, 2 weeks ago. June and I took Loki to San Diego to see a specialist. Now, Loki is their dog, if you don't know. He did not survive due to complications from the surgery. This past Friday was supposed to be the day of mourning. We were back in San Diego to pick up his ashes. We were going to take him to the beach and comfort each other by sharing our favorite stories about our little boy. Instead, a part of the internet I avoid like the plague came barging in. I had companies I'm working for calling me, friends reaching out to me. I'm seeing hate pouring out of strangers' mouths, accusing me of things I have no knowledge of. I'm seeing firsthand how fast lies are spreading. Let me be clear, I'm not part of any group. We never made it to the beach. We spent the entire 6-hour drive back home on an emotional roller coaster. I'm writing this because I'm angry. These irresponsible tweets are not harmless. They do not just go away. They have real-world consequences. They can take away your job, your life, your memories. June and I were robbed of a special day, so no, we're not all good. This isn't the start of a conversation. This is the end. So please, don't drag me into a world I never wanted to be a part of, nor will I ever want to be part of. I want to honor Loki by going back to producing art made with love, for people who enjoy it for what it is. Something that hopefully brings joy into their lives. Mommy and Daddy miss you so very much, Loki. Our love. Now, could you imagine that? Could you imagine that? Which to him, this was a beloved pet of his. That was more like a friend to him. Now, could you imagine being in Jae Lee's position and then somebody gets upset with you because you did a cover for a comic, and because you did a cover that apparently somebody didn't like, they tried to cancel you and spread lies about you? Could you imagine that? At a hard time such as this, it shows how disgusting Tom King is as a person, and I feel so much for Jae Lee. This is just so depressing for him, and it comes at such a hard time. I mean, and here's how Tom King responds, by the way. Look at this. Good morning. Taking a picture of his own dog. And then, what does he go on to do? All right. He then goes on with another tweet. Walking the dog. And this was after this Instagram post. Let me just remind people of that. This is absolutely disgusting. It's revolting. I mean, Tom King is a coward, as well as he's just a horrible person. He took offense to a cover that's not even offensive at all. And he spread lies about Jae Lee to try to ruin him, to cancel him. That is disgusting. And then, of course, he apologizes, which this is something that I just don't think that he really cared when he made this apology. He tries to make it sincere, but this is what he states.
As I have done privately, I'd like to publicly apologize to Jae Lee for my actions a few days ago. I should have talked to Jae before I sent a tweet about him that put his career at risk. I made a critical mistake and I am profoundly sorry. I will do what I can to repair this with Jae, and I will do better in the future. I am not going to offer explanations because they sound like excuses, and I'm not asking for forgiveness or understanding. I'm just saying that I see what I did, and I'm going to try to make up for it. Thank you. I have kept up the tweets up to this point in order to show that I was not hiding my actions. I will now take them down.
Yeah, you're taking them down because you don't want evidence of what you did. You know, it's very disgusting, Tom, that you did all these things. You tried to ruin a man's career. A man's career. Over a cover that he did. And then, of course, you spread lies about him. You say that Comicsgate is a hate group when it's not. You have no evidence to prove that. It's just disgusting. And it goes to show that Comicsgate, they're not the hate group. We know where the hate's really coming from. It's coming from people like Tom King. That's where the hate's really coming from. It's absolutely disgusting. And to Jae Lee, I hope the best for you, and I'm sorry for your loss. But anyways, let me know what you think about this entire situation down below. Subscribe to the channel if you were new here, and make sure you were still subscribed because YouTube is unsubscribing people from all their favorite channels. So make sure you were still subscribed to all your favorite channels. Hit the video with a like, and also be sure to share the video on social media. Spread the word to get it out there. It's greatly appreciated, and it really helps out the channel a lot. Also, be sure to follow me on Discord. We have a wonderful community there. Not only that, but it will keep you up to date on when the newest videos will be released, as well as any other upcoming events in the near future. So be sure to follow me on Discord. The link is in the description down below. But anyways, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today. And remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow could always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you. And have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.